Hey, what is going on YouTube? It is August 1st, which means we are getting close to football season. Now, I will be covering college football and the NFL, but my particular taste is covering the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama Independent School Association. So, I want to start off first by reviewing the AISA. Now, it is a reclassification year, which means we did have some schools to move up or move down, and we did have some schools to transfer over to the east side from the west side. So it's going to be interesting this year what's to come. But the first part we're going to do is the 1A east side, and the schools that are in there are Abbeville Christian, Chambers Academy, Crenshaw Christian, Lowndes Academy, SMCA, and Sparta Academy. Now, what's interesting about this is Sparta and Lowndes have been in 1A on the west side for a few years, but they've been moved over to the east side. So, what's there to come from this year? Abbeville Christian, they are coming off two-time 1A state champions, and a lot of people are predicting them to win it this year. We're going to see what happens, but in my brackets of right now, I have SMCA finishing in last place. In front of them is Chambers Academy. Making the playoffs in the fourth spot is Crenshaw Christian. At the number 3 spot is Lowndes Academy. Number 2, I have Abbeville Christian, and they're going to make another run for the championship, but they have lost a lot of talent. And my number 1 seed is Sparta Academy on the east side, which we don't know what's going to happen yet, but it's going to be interesting. Now, moving on to the 1A west side. We have a lot of competition on this side, especially some big known schools that are over here. Starting off with Marengo Academy, North River Christian, Patrician Academy, Southern Academy, South Choctaw Academy, Sumter Academy, and Wilcox Academy. Now, moving down into 1A is Marengo Academy and Wilcox Academy. And what's happening over here is Marengo Academy they've been to the state championship 3 straight times in 2A, and they've lost a lot of talent, but they are still talented, and they are probably going to make a run to win the state championship in 1A. That's just my prediction. And on the west side, finishing in last place, I have Sumter Academy. In front of them is Southern Academy. Just in front of them is Wilcox Academy. And making the playoff spots, I have at the number 4 seed, North River. Number 3 is going to be a toss-up between the number 2 and number 3, but I have South Choctaw going in at number 3 at the season. And for number 2, I have Patrician Academy. And for number 1, and my team, who I think is going to win the 1A state championship, is the Marengo Academy Longhorns. Now, moving on into 2A, we're going to start off with the 2A east side, and we have Coosa Valley, Cornerstone, Evangel, Kingwood, Lakeside, and Macon East. Now, Kingwood and Evangel have been in 3A for a little while in football, but they have now dropped back down to 2A. And for my number 6 spot on this side, I have Cornerstone Christian. Number 5, I have Coosa Valley. Making the playoffs at number 4 seed is Evangel Christian. Number 3 is going to be Lakeside. And number 2, this is pretty much my big toss-up, because either one of these schools can go to state and be number 1, but my number 2 seed I have is Kingwood Christian, and for number 1 I have Macon East. You know, they've been competitive for the last few years, but there's been a lot of competition on the 2A East side. But there's been some teams that have been dropped out and going up, so I have Macon East at going in number 1. Now on the 2A West side, it is going to be really competitive. I mean, what do you got to say? These schools any one of them could win the state championship. Starting off with Autauga Academy, then Clark Prep School, and Escambia Academy, Jackson Academy, and Pickens Academy. Now, Jackson Academy has moved up from 1A to 2A. Escambia and Autauga have dropped down from 3A to 2A. So it's going to be interesting what happens here. But like I said, there's a lot of talent on this west side, and Like I said, any one of them could win the state championship. But at the number 5 spot, I have Pickens Academy. Number 4, which this school has been coming up ever since they won the state championship back in 2012. 2011. This school is Jackson Academy. I think they're going to have some good talent this year, and I think they're going to be able to compete. Number 3, I have Autauga Academy. What's interesting note about this, the head coach from Edgewood Academy, who has been pretty much dominant over the past few years, he retired but is now the offensive coordinator for Autauga Academy. You know, I'm not predicting them to win the state, but I do believe that they're going to have enough talent to compete. But I mean, like I said, this West Side is loaded with talent, and any one of them could win. For my number 2 seed, I'm going with the Clark Prep Gators. I'm just telling you out front that this team, they like to compete. And you know, Coach Billy Hamilton, he's been in the playoffs for a long time. He's won a few state championships, but he's just never had the edge to finish and win a state championship in the past few years. But, you know, I'm picking them to win the state championship. And at number 1, I mean, this team is just loaded with talent, Escambia Academy. And why I got them at number 1 is I believe that they're going to beat Clark Prep in the regular season, but I believe Clark Prep is going to come out and win the state championship in 2A. And the final ones we have are 3A. And I'm going to tell you, in the AISA, if you're a 3A team, you're honestly the best that there is. Now, there are some 1A and 2A schools that can compete with 3A, but I mean 3A, they are the best when it comes to the AISA. And going into 3A East, this is going to be probably the best out of 3A. And starting at, we have Bessemer Academy, Edgewood Academy, Glenwood, Lee Scott, Springwood, and Tuscaloosa Academy. Now, Lee Scott and Tuscaloosa and Glenwood, they have been known as basketball schools. And, you know, some of that talent has converted over to football. And we're going to find out what happens this year. But the only change in this is that Edgewood moved up from 2A to 1A, but for some of you who don't know, like I said earlier, head coach Bobby Carr transferred over to the Autauga Academy as offensive coordinator. And, you know, honestly, I don't think they're going to win it again. You know, I think that long streak that they have is going to be snapped at some time this year. But, you know, we don't know when it's going to happen. For my number 1 seed, I have I'm getting ahead of myself. Springwood School I have at the number 6 seed. For number 5 is Edgewood Academy. For number 4, making the playoffs is Glenwood. For number 3, I have Tuscaloosa Academy. At the number 2 spot is Lee Scott. And for my number 1 seed, and the team who I believe is going to win the state championship in 3A is the Bessemer Academy Rebels. Now, they did graduate a lot of seniors, and there was a lot of talent, but they know how to recruit and they know how to play football. And we're going to find out if they are going to win, but I believe that they will. Now, going on over to 3A West, and these schools are nothing but powerhouse teams. They love to run the football, and which I'm talking about Fortdale, Hooper, Monroe, Morgan, Northside, and Pike Liberal. You know, there's not much to say up in here, but like I said, these schools love to run the football, and they're ground and pound and will hit you in the mouth. That's what I like about this side. And for my number 6 seed, I have Hooper Academy. For number 5, I have Pike Liberal. At the number 4 spot is Morgan Academy. At the number 3 spot, we have Fortdale. And at number 2, I have Northside. And for number 1, I have Monroe Academy. And I believe it's going to be a rematch from last year with Bessemer Academy against Monroe Academy. But like again, I'm picking Bessemer to win the 3A state championship. So